Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Forward Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Armstrong. My guest this week, get ready. I'm just telling you, this is an hour and a half plus of full tilt boogie. Charles Barkley is with me. Shot this one out actually in Scottsdale, Arizona, where Sir Charles spends a lot of his time. I expected him to come unfiltered and on fire, but this was even more than that. So enjoy that. Before we get to Sir Charles, a couple of things. While I was out there, I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago on one of the shows that I was going to run the half marathon in Phoenix, the rock and roll half marathon, and then like a week before that, I'm training for the Austin Marathon. I tweaked a hammy. I've never done this to a hamstring, and so it's sort of gotten to me for the last couple of weeks. It's getting a little better. I think I'll be fine for the Austin Marathon, but definitely had to back off the training and didn't want to go push it in a half out there in Phoenix. Was in Phoenix for my son Max's hockey tournament. When I tell people that my son's now playing hockey, they're just like, "Ooh, are you ready?" I was like, for what? Like what? For what? And they're like, dude, a hockey parent? Like that's a special commitment. I was like, whatever. They were right. Full on commitment. I mean, unbelievable. But I'm so proud of him. I mean, all his buddies and all his teammates have been skating their whole lives. He's been skating for 3 months, and he's just literally every practice, every game, he's improving. So it's really cool to see, and it's cool to learn a new sport. Like I don't know anything about hockey. I don't know about the rules. I don't know. All I know is when you watch an NHL game, you can never see the puck. But proud of him. So what else we got? We're going to talk about. How about the Patriots? Like, is at some point does it ever end? Like right? I mean, obviously they lost the Super Bowl last year, but it's incredible. I mean, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, 41 years old. Man, you gotta love it. I mean, you don't have to love it, but you gotta respect it. And impressive. So, look forward to the Super Bowl. Last thing, and I talk about it every week, and I'm gonna talk about it again because it's getting in my lane now. These scooters, okay, that are everywhere. And I'm seeing them down on the bottom of dried out creek beds. And so I'm running yesterday, and I'm running along one of my favorite trails, and I see ahead of me, it's like a little sign, and I see that it looks like a speed limit sign. It says 10. And I get up there, and it says, this trail is part of a pilot program that we're testing here in Austin. Scooters and bicycles restricted to 10 miles an hour on this trail. All right, now, the fact that we're lumping bikes in with scooters is just I can't take it. I can't deal with this. I'm put my foot down. I'm going to call the mayor. I'm going to protest. I'm going to picket. I'm kidding, but where does it end? I think we just get rid of them. Get rid of all of them. Not the bikes, but the scooters. And I'm also kind of kidding about that. It's my thing right now. It's the you know, it's a real thorn in my side. Anyhow, Charles Barkley, no need to really introduce Charles Barkley. Everybody knows, or almost everybody knows his sporting career, which he then transitioned into a very, very successful broadcast career. His show on TNT, if you guys have seen it, if you haven't, you should. If you have, you know it's hilarious. The dynamic between him and Shaquille O'Neal and Ernie and the whole crew, Kenny, is hilarious. And having been in that position, you know, with George Hincapie during the tour shows, you know, a lot of times that's a bit of an act, you know, so they'll pick a side and they'll go at each other and you know, you'll swear that they can't stand each other, then they get offset and they're high-fiving. But Charles does it better than anybody else. He also has the ugliest golf swing in the history of the world. If you don't believe me, go look on YouTube. Anyways, enjoy Charles Barkley. Thanks for tuning in, and also to Charles, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for coming on. Sir Charles, thanks for doing this.
No problem, my brother. Thanks for having me.
So you made it through. We're staying in this, I don't know what it is, maybe like a timeshare place, but there's the gate guy down there. And I just went out for a run on my bum hamstring, which I screwed up the other day, which is bumming me out. But so I come back and I got tapped on the guy's window, and I was like, hey, we have a guest coming at 6. I said, he'll probably be late, but he's coming at 6, so just heads up, send him up to 108 where we are. He's like, okay. He's like, who is it? And I said, Charles Barkley. And the guy's face, he was like, okay.
And it was so funny when I got here. He's like, oh, you like real Charles Barkley. I'm like, you think he was going to give you a fake Charles Barkley? And he was so excited, he forgot to tell me, because we went to the bar.
Right.
So I forgot to tell you. He didn't even realize what villa you were in.
Because he said, I'll send him to your place.
People can call an apartment a villa. Must be nice to be rich and successful. You stay at a villa, not just an apartment.
You sent me a text. You said, are you in your villa? And I was like, what the hell is he talking about? I think he's in the wrong place.
In Arizona, the rich folks call it villas.
So I just want to share with you and your wife who's around the corner and all the listeners just how hard it was for me to arrange this. Okay? I just want to read something. I want you to listen to this, okay? This is how you communicate with people who are trying to arrange things, okay? I said, hey, where are you at next week? When, my brother? I mean days. I said, I'm in Phoenix the 15th through the 21st. You say, I'm going to Arizona in the morning. I'll be there till Wednesday. I said, let's roll and let's podcast. You say, I'm in. I say, podcast Tuesday night. You say, done, brother. And I say, are you in Scottsdale? And I'm thinking, do you live in Scottsdale? And you say, no, I'm in Atlanta, leaving in the morning. And I said, I mean, do you live in the Scottsdale area when you're there? You say, I'm on a plane now, heading to Arizona, there until Wednesday morning. So at this point, I'm banging my head against the wall. And I say, where should we do the podcast? Do you have a house there? No response. So then I say, thoughts. You say, when and where? And I said, how about 6 p.m. Tuesday? Where do you stay there? No response. Then I follow up an hour later. We can do it anywhere. Pretty straightforward. You got a house there? Or do you stay in a hotel or what? No response. And then I say, call me when you have a chance. No response. And then I say, we're staying at the Rocks. Can we do it there? No response. And then I say, yo, what's up? I'm bringing my guys out. They're flying out of Austin in the morning. I kind of have to know. Let me know. And you go, yes, sir. We're doing it, my brother. And I say, where? And you go, well, you said Rocks, correct? And I go, is that cool with you? And you say, well, where is that? I mean, this is just the whole time.
First of all, I have been accused of, I'm not a big text person.
Yeah, clearly.
My texts are going to be no more than 5 words at the most. Mm-hmm. And that's after you, if you ask me if I'm having a heart transplant, brain surgery, or getting a scope on my knee, I'm going to answer yes, no, yes, or yes, yes, yes. I refuse to have conversations in text, but we're here now.
That's right.
And I'm looking forward to it.
That's great. Hey, it worked out. But I told the guys, I was like, listen, I think he's going to be here.
Dude, you don't have to worry about that. When I told you I was going to be here, I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do it, though.
I know. It's great. Let's talk about, I read this story about Lin Wong.
Yes.
This was an amazing, I guess was written by his daughter.
His daughter, yeah. She called me she called me and said, can I write an article about you and my dad? I'm like, yeah, no problem.
So just as a little background.
I was in Sacramento speaking at Kevin Johnson's event.
Who's now the mayor in Sacramento.
Yes. And I'm sitting at the bar. Imagine that. And this Asian guy just sits down beside me, and after about 10, 15 minutes, we start talking. And he says, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm in town. I'm speaking tomorrow night of one of my ex-teammates. He's the mayor, actually, blah, blah, blah. I said, what are you doing? He said, nothing. He said, well, let's go have dinner. So we ended up going out having dinner. First of all, we talked for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We ended up going to have dinner. Just a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And we swapped numbers. And I didn't think I was ever going to see him again because he lived in Iowa.
Right. Iowa City.
Yeah. And next thing I know, he's in Atlanta on business. I'm like, yeah, you can come by the studio. I'm like, okay. And Shaq and Ken are like, yo, who's this dude? I said, man, you wouldn't believe it. I just met him casually and blah. And then we developed a friendship. You know, we talked probably once every couple weeks. Got together a couple more times in different cities. And unfortunately, he passed away. This summer. Well, right before summer, actually, right during the NBA playoffs. And it was really weird because and the thing that's really funny, I had never met anybody in his family. So I walk into this wedding. There's 99.9% of Asians at his funeral.
Yeah.
I don't know what his wife looks like. I don't know what his kids look like. And I'm the only black person there. And I walk in, and the whole room's like, oh, Charles Barkley's here.
Yeah, she does a good job sort of laying that out in the article. Her name's Shirley.
Her name is Shirley.
Yeah.
And she was so sweet. She's like, my dad talked about you all the time. And then everybody's like, oh, you really do know Lynn. I'm like, yeah, we were good friends. Because like I said, I had never met anybody. First of all, I'd never been an hour before. And then I spent a couple hours with the family, and they were telling me how he brought all these people over from China and sponsored them, and he was kind of like obviously the smartest guy in the room.
He's a scientist.
Yes.
Or was a scientist?
A cat litter scientist.
Yeah, cat litter scientist. Imagine.
Yeah, and they're telling me about how many people he's bought from China and sponsored. I mean, I guess that's the way you have to do it.
Yeah.
And they got this really huge, really amazing Asian community in our city. And it was just I learned so much about him that day.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched your eulogy that you, I don't know if you knew you were going to do that. But
I did not know that.
Yeah, they asked you to do it, but you did.
We want you to say something. I'm like,
it can't be easy.
Yeah,
can't be easy.
It's never easy. No. I had to do, like my mentor, Moses Malone, I had to do his eulogy. That's probably the toughest thing I've ever did in my life. And it was, I mean, obviously he's Moses Malone. It's going to be a ton of people there, but that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. And he was amazing. It was bittersweet because I got a chance to tell everybody what he meant to me. But the main thing, I got a chance to just kind of say goodbye. Because, funerals suck.
You get through those without, I mean, you did in his, got through. I could never get through those without crying. Moses, you got through Lynn?
I got through Moses. I think the only time I ever got choked up was when my mom passed away a couple years ago. I had to do that.
And this is what I'm glad you brought this. I'm not glad you brought this up because I'm sure it's still tough for you to talk about and think about. But the part of the story you're leaving out is he showed up at your mother's funeral.
Yeah. And I'm from a small town in Alabama, and I'm pretty sure he's the only Asian ever been there.
Yeah.
And my homeboy's like, yo, man, who is the Asian dude over here? And I didn't know he was coming.
Right. No, he just showed up.
Yeah, he just shows up. And we looking around, and like I said, I'm from a small town in Alabama, a few thousand people. And all the brothers looked at me like, yo, man, who's homeboy over here? And I turned around. It was like the only time I laughed during that entire period because my mom was sick and she obviously passed away. But when I turned around and Lynn's there, which took some time and effort for him to figure out the whole dynamic. Because like I said, you can't get to my hometown. You have to go through Atlanta and Birmingham and do some driving.
Leeds, Alabama.
Yeah, there's no direct flights.
To Leeds.
There's no direct flights to Leeds.
Only Leeds, England.
That's exactly right. But when he showed up, it meant a great deal to me, and it put a stronger bond on our friendship. And then when I found out he had cancer, and it hurt quickly.
Yeah. And he didn't tell you. He didn't want to.
He didn't want to. Like that's kind of guy. He's like, I don't want you worried about, but his daughter said something so profound. She says, I just want to thank you for making my dad laugh the last few months of his life. He says, we got together and watched you guys act a fool during the playoffs, during the regular season. And obviously, you have a situation like that. It's not pleasant and not fun. But to give somebody joy. That's why I tell people, sports are important. Sports are really important because if you got laid off from a job, you're struggling in a relationship, you got issues with your kids, you can't pay your bills. If the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing well, it lift Pittsburgh up. If like last year when the Eagles won, like you might have crap going on, but when the Eagles were winning the Super Bowl, it was really cool.
Right.
You know, I was paying attention last year because I was watching. I'm a Stanley Club fan. And all those people who have been cheering for the Washington Capitals all those years and got their heart broken, like the unbridled joy, you saw it in Ovechkin also. Man, sports are important.
Yep.
It takes you away from reality.
Yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I can relate to the pain.
But you've had some good ones too now.
25 years ago.
It was a long time
23
ago.
years ago. It will have been 23 years this Super Bowl.
But you know, there's some teams.
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, listen. It was. That's the first time the Philly had won ever in like 60 years.
I know, but that's Philly. We're talking about the
the
guys with the
Cowboys.
star on the helmet, man.
You're right. But you know, but that's why I tell people, sports are they important? Are they the most important thing in the world? No.
Right.
But they are very important.
Yeah. What is it like growing up? By the way, I have no. Well, it's what Leeds, Alabama is somewhere outside of Birmingham. So
Yes.
I mean, what is that like? How many people there?
Couple thousand,
How many people in your senior class?
like 110 to 15.
Okay.
And the one cool thing about my hometown is you go K to 12 together.
Right.
So it's so small. Like the person I went to first grade with, I graduated from high school with. So you know everybody.
Yeah.
So like when I go back to Leeds now, I see all the kids. And they're like, you know my dad. I'm like, what's your dad's name? I'm like, oh, I do know your dad.
Yeah.
Like I say, you know, like a lot of people when they go to different schools, people come and go. But when you go K through 12 with somebody, you know everything about them.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You would, and then nobody moves.
Nobody moves.
Yeah.
Which is a negative.
I agree.
Yeah, because one of the things that I've tried to do, I'm not bragging on myself, I've given.
You should go ahead.
I've given a couple $1 million to my high school so poor kids can go to college.
You should definitely tell that
If
story.
they want to stay in Leeds, which I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't want them to stay in Leeds. I mean, I want them to grow up and be Charles Barkley, Lance Armstrong. President Clinton is from a small town, smaller than Leeds, Hope. Arkansas.
Yep.
Like you don't know what you can accomplish until you put yourself in a situation where you can be successful.
And as I was reading your story of growing up in Leeds, because I think, look, back up. I think people assume you're 6'6" now, you are who you are, Hall of Famer, et cetera, et cetera. People just assume that when you were in the second grade, you were tall, and when you were in the fifth grade, you were tall, and when you were in the ninth grade, you were tall. Is it true that as a junior in high school, you were 5'10", 220 pounds?
Yeah, you know, that's the thing, because, you know, it came out later who was this kid from Alabama who nobody recruited except Alabama, Auburn, UAB, because I went from 5'10" to 6'5" in 1 year.
Right, over the summer, I read over the summer.
And
by the way, that would have hurt.
You know, I never felt that type of pain, though. People have asked me that before.
I would think that
But
hurt.
let me tell you something, though. It was a shock to everybody's system. It was a shock to everybody's system. But it goes to show you, though, basketball, it changed my life because at that point, I wouldn't even think about the NBA. I never thought I was good enough to play at the NBA.
Well, hang on. As a junior, 5'10", 220 pounds, you didn't even make the team.
No, I was a backup fat point guard at that point.
Wow.
But when I got to 6'5.5", all hell broke loose.
Watch out, motherfuckers.
Yeah, yes. Hey, listen, it was so. And I played like everybody who had not really made fun with, you know, you're a bench warmer or you're not good enough to make the team. I was wreaking havoc on their ass too. You know, because in my hometown, you know, that's one thing about being from small town. Sports are a big deal. Yeah. Like football and basketball are a big deal in my hometown. And when I finally got my chance to shine, I was ready for it.
So, I never thought about this, but what do you do, being from Alabama, but having gone to Auburn, and we know what. You know, the Iron War or whatever the hell they call it. Iron Bowl. What do you do when Alabama's in the national championship versus Clemson? What do you do? Do you cheer for Clemson? Do you cheer for nobody, or do you cheer for Alabama?
Well, that's a great question. As I've grown up and matured, I probably 20 years ago would have rooted for Clemson. Right. But now as a grown man, you don't root against anybody just because they're your arch rival. You don't want anybody to lose. That makes you a loser or a hater. Like, I want you to lose because we're not any good. Like when I growing up, I'm like, I root for Auburn and anybody who plays Alabama. Now I'm like, hey man, Nick Saban's the greatest college football coach ever. I'm not going to root against somebody who's good at sports. Yeah. Are they fans going to be obnoxious and a pain in the ass? Of course they are. Yeah. But I don't root against this weekend when I was watching the Cowboys. I was just watching the game. When the Patriots are playing the Chargers, I just want to see a good game. Yeah. I don't root.
You betting on these games?
Of course I am. That's all football's good for, betting on. But let me tell you this: I don't root against other professional athletes because I feel like we're in a fraternity. I know what they've been through. They know what I've been through, good and bad. So I don't root. That's just a rule I have. I don't root against other professional teams. But also, like I said, I'm not going to root against Alabama because Auburn wasn't any good.
At this point in your life, you're not.
Yes, but you got to grow up.
Yeah, I know. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it, man.
It's a fluid situation.
You've been rooting. I just want to say this. I'll say something serious and then I'll say something that was quite funny. But you've been a great supporter and friend and a ally of mine. So I appreciate that from all over the years. But when it was tough,
that's when you find out shit.
I talk about it every week. This show's called The Forward.
Yeah, like
how you move forward in your life when you you've had plenty of shit.
When you fuck up, man, you find out who's real and who's not. Like when I had the spitting incident.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read you. Yeah. I'm gonna read the audience a quote that you talk about.
All the friends to like turn on you. When I got the DUI, like. I had my friends. I was in jail for the weekend. I said, I want you guys to be my ears, my eyes and ears. Every asshole that says something bad about me, who kisses my ass every week and say, come on my radio show, come on my TV show, you write the name down. So when I got out, we went out drinking. I said, show me everybody who said something bad about me.
Yeah.
Now when them guys call me, I tell them to go fuck themselves. I said, yeah, you're like, we should fire him. He's an asshole. He's a jerk. I wrote down every person who said something bad about me, and then when they called, because like I say, I understand part of our job is to deal with the media. They don't pay you all that money just to play basketball. That's the one thing that annoys me about today's game. Guys, like I don't talk on. I talk to the press one day a week, or I talk to them early in the week, at the end of the week. I'm like, dude, part of your job, they're not paying you all that money. That goes with it. They got a job to do. You're supposed to help everybody in this little pot of gumbo.
I don't know if you remember this, but and I don't remember if it was a month or 2 months or 3 months or however many months it was after my world blew up. But we had the Manny Te'o situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was following it because I'm a sports fan. I'm reading it, and out of the blue, bing, text from Charles Barkley. I'm like, uh-oh. I open it up. It says, brother, thank God for Manny Te'o.
That's it.
Because it was such a story that, the idea is that it makes the old story go away.
It does to a certain degree.
Except when it's my story. It didn't really go.
Good. But that's the thing, though, why you have to figure out who's in your camp or not.
Yeah, well.
Because your story is yours and your family and friends.
Yeah.
Like the public, they're going to turn the channel. They're going to go to the next movie, to the next article, the next story, and they forget about you, but you're still in it. I remember when I was sitting in that jail cell when I got my DUI, and I was there. I was there for the weekend.
By the way, they're very tough on DUI in Scottsdale.
Arizona.
I mean, it's a big, it's like a thing.
No question.
It's just the toughest place in the country.
No question. But I was sitting there thinking, like, man, I'm really gonna find out who my true friends are.
Yeah, you are.
When things go bad, and my friends were great. So I got texts and phone calls from guys in the media like, yo, man, you know you're screwed up. I'm not gonna say you should be fired. 'Cause I had guys who I thought were friends of mine. I did their radio shows all the time. I'm like, oh, he's got to get fired. You know, he's an asshole. Blah blah blah. And I wrote down everybody's name. I said, well, because you really felt like that the whole time. You can't get mad at me because I did something, made a mistake and did something stupid. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like I would always tell Tiger, if I could talk to him.
We're gonna get to Tiger.
Like these people who are kicking your ass, they always want to kick your ass. You just didn't give them an opportunity. Yeah. And I hope now that he's back toward the top, those the same people who've been kicking your ass, who kicking your ass, kissing your ass now. Yeah. You have to learn that, because I tell all these young guys in the NBA today, don't confuse making people money, you making money, as those are your friends. Mm-hmm. Those are two different things.
Chucky, I mean, yeah. When you're there, and you're the guy, and money's flowing, and the parties are flowing, and everybody's women is flowing, and the PJs are flying, and everybody's your friend, and so I know exactly. We talk about that all the time on this show, because it's what I chose to do, and the loyal listener will know this. What I chose to do is actually embrace that and learn from that and know what it's like. Yes, it sucks to lose friends and to have people turn on you. Mm-hmm. That sucks. If that doesn't hurt your feelings, you're not a human being.
Yeah, I agree.
But the silver lining in that is when you have people who just appear. Yeah. That say, hey, man, I haven't talked to you in a couple of years, but I just want you to know I support you. And
how you doing?
And I'm here.
But the main thing you don't fucking kick me when I'm down. Well, like you can say, hey, you know what, Charles Lance, you were wrong. You did something wrong. But don't fucking kick me. That's the shit that bothers me. Like, when I'm sitting in a jail cell, I don't need more footprints on my neck. Yeah. Like, I know, hey, I'm in fucking jail. I know I fucked up. Yeah. You know, hey, and then if you're a true friend, say, hey, man, that was you really messed up. Okay. Now let's keep it. Now, what are we going to do to make it better? But you got these certain people out there who like, I'm just going to stomp on your neck because I can, because I'm jealous of you. I never liked your personality. That's what drives me crazy.
But you survived it. You're look. That is you know it. We all know. I mean, that's a big mistake. A lot of people have made that mistake. Some people, sometimes, thank God nobody got hurt, yourself or nobody else. But you don't ever want to make that mistake again. And you're back. You're great at what you do, I didn't follow that story that closely, but I believe, knowing you, that you were genuinely remorseful.
No question.
And so let's move forward. Yeah. And that's what, that's kind of what it's all about. Speaking of forward, which I don't think we can ever move forward from, let me back up. The scarring that occurs to anybody who watches you swing a golf club, it is, no, you can't unsee this. And if for anybody listening or watching, I'm just telling you, just go to YouTube or whatever and type in Charles Barkley golf swing. It is Chucky, I love you, but this is the most fucking embarrassing thing I have ever. Why do you stop?
It's mental.
No, I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that on the range, you don't stop.
There's no pressure on the range.
Where's the pressure at a charity golf tournament with no money on the line?
But mentally, like the same reason Steve Sachs couldn't throw the ball to second base, throw the ball to first base. Mackie Sasser couldn't throw the ball back to the pitcher. Like, it's not that he's not saying to himself, the reason Ian Baker Fitz quit golf. Yeah. He hit the fairway, he hit 100 yards.
Right.
Like,
he hit the maintenance shed.
Yeah, but like, and you're not thinking about it when it happens. And I guarantee the guy won the British Open. He's not standing on the ball and saying, I'm going to hit this ball in the maintenance shed. And then there's something that's happening. There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect in there mentally.
No, I hear you. I just don't understand. You are an athlete that has the hand-eye coordination. It is a ball. It is a round object.
You've been lucky because you never lost it mentally. Like, sports are so mental. Like I say, it has never had an effect upon me in any other thing. But I've seen it happen to other jocks. And unfortunately, and I don't even look at it unfortunately. Yeah. Listen, man, as long as I can drink some beers, smoke some cigars, and get some peace and quiet, I'm all right with the golf thing. Like, would I like to play great golf or better golf? Of course I would. But it has nothing to do with my livelihood. I feel bad for guys who that's their goal in life, to play on the PGA Tour, and they're not good enough. Right. Or they develop the yips and things like that. Yeah. Like for me, if I go out and suck at golf, I'm going to drink plenty of beer. I'm going to smoke my 2 cigars per 9. And then I'm going to get back to reality.
You gamble on the golf course?
Not as much as I used to. When I was
what was the game? Because we gamble on the golf course all the time. In the day, what was the game? What game did y'all play on the golf course? I mean, in terms of gambling.
The most I played for is probably $3,000 to $5,000
per hole.
No.
So like stroke play, match play.
I forget how they call it.
Wolf.
No, well, we bet on everything.
Yeah, you're going to side action, wolf action, team action.
Birdies a double.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you got to reward somebody for making a birdie.
Hammers?
Yes.
We play all options.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's the one thing about golf that's funny. You got a bunch of has-beens who still think they are Charles Barkley, guys like that. My name is on a Charles Barkley. There's no reason I should be playing golf for money. But all the guys, because to be great at sports, you have to have an ego.
Right.
To be good at golf, to be good at sports, you have to have an ego.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes guys bet with their ego instead of their golf clubs.
Yeah, that's what I do. And I never, like, in the day, if I knew that I had to do something in a bike race.
Yeah.
It just had to happen in order for me or us to win.
Yeah.
It would happen. I promise you. And at this point, at 47, 48 years old, no matter what, even money gets up there, I don't stand over I don't stand over the ball, whether it's a tee shot or a chip or a putt, and have the same focus. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't really fucking care, which is stupid, actually, now that I hear myself say that.
Well, I think it's probably, you're trying to probably diffuse the situation more than anything. Because, because you want to win. People don't bet. People don't bet. The money's irrelevant. You just want to win.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not like you're betting enough money to change your livelihood. I mean, it's kind of like going to the casino, to be honest with you.
Which I don't do. I don't do blackjack or roulette.
But I'm not going to win or lose enough money where it changes my life.
Yeah, you said this.
It's about the competition.
But hey, hang on a second. Charles, on the golf course, you're man against man or man to man, and you've got handicaps, and so it is supposed to be fair. It is never fair in Las Vegas or Atlantic City or Tahoe or whatever. It ain't fair. They don't build all these buildings that shine and provide all these amenities for free and fly fucking people all around because it's even. Well, it is not even.
It's not unfair. You listen. It's just like
nobody wins.
Not all the time. Like, you're going to win.
This is the mind of a gambler. No. Just justify.
My guy in Vegas said something to me one time.
Oh, my God. Here it goes.
No. He told me. He says, you know this is business, right? I said, yeah, I understand that. He said, I said, what's your game plan? He says, you're going to win sometime, and we're going to win sometime. My job is to get you here as much as possible.
Right.
Because our theory is we're going to win more than you are. I know that going in.
Yeah.
The thing I got to be smart about is I can't win enough money from them to change my life. But I don't gamble like I used to because, first of all, I'm not going to lose enough to change my life. But you go through that mental depression when you lose.
It's a bummer.
Like when you just like, can't believe how stupid I am.
Yeah, I'm such a loser.
And I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
I don't want to do that because then you're depressed for like a week.
What you want? I read one time you lost, I don't know, $2 million or something, or $1 million. It was a big number. I would be curled up in a fetal position.
I've won $1 million.
No, I was talking about the time you lost.
No, I'm saying it's got to take it in context. I've won $1 million probably 8 times.
Wow.
But I've lost $1 million probably 22 times.
Okay, so you're down 14.
Yeah. But that's just
This is my point.
Those are just like the worst weekends where you're chasing all weekend. But when I quit gambling for a couple of years.
Totally quit? Stone cold quit?
Stone cold.
Not even a little football action? No. Okay.
Because when you're losing that type of money, that's a lot of money. You can't be an idiot. But I quit for 2 years, and I was telling my boys, I said, man, I really miss gambling. And my friends they had to always be honest with me. They're like, dude, gambling's not your problem. Being an idiot is your problem. And I said, well, explain to me. They're like, Charles, we have been in Vegas hundreds of times. You've been up $300, $400, $600, $700,000 for a night. And we're like, let's quit. And you says, no, let's get it to $1 million.
Oh, God.
And we're talking about 40, 50 trips where I've been up $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. And I'm like, I got to get to that imaginary $1 million. Then I would lose all my profit, then lose that other $1 million credit I had. So a few years ago, I started thinking like, okay, man, so I quit. And when they were telling me my story, they said, dude, let's go to Vegas. Let's win some money. Let's lose some money. Let's don't lose a lot of money. And it'll be a fun weekend.
Right.
So I said, let me think about that. So now when I go to Vegas, I take a couple $100,000. I'm like, okay, I'm going to win a couple $100,000, lose a couple $100,000. Now, is that a lot of money?
And you're going to go home with the same amount of money then.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, though, it's better than losing a couple million one weekend. Listen, I don't want to sound like an asshole here, but I'm not going to be mad about losing $200,000.
That was an asshole comment.
No, but it's the truth.
I'm just fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
No. When you lose $1 million, that's a lot of money, number one. But also you got depression. I'm not even sure depression. I don't want to sound like I'm a psychiatrist, but you're just like in a funk.
No, your tail between the legs, and you just.
But if you lose a couple $100,000, you're like, okay, I got my ass kicked. We're good. We came and gambled. We had some fun.
And again, not that I gamble, but I did. This is a Tiger story that and we can talk about Tiger because I want to talk about him because we share a friendship with him or share a previous relationship with him. It's been interesting, but there was a time where and I don't. I mean, this has been well documented, so I don't think I'm violating any trust here. But I'm going to get to the point where I think this is the thing that hooks people. Where he called me once. He says, "I just staged the biggest comeback since Lance Armstrong," and I'm like, "Oh no, what?" And so he was, and I don't gamble. I don't know how the fucking game works. I don't know what happens. I don't know the room that you're in, so he was down. I don't know, $700,000-800,000.
Yeah.
And rallies back.
Yeah.
And, gets back to even and then makes $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the comeback.
That's the comeback.
But that's the thing to me, like that if when you start pulling that off, then you're like, oh, I got this shit.
Yeah.
Like I can get down and come back.
Yeah. I think my best story, I was down, because I normally get $1 million credit. I was down to my last $50,000. So we go down there, me and about 4 of my boys. We sit down about.
When you say, I don't want to frame this. I want to put myself in there. When you say your boys, are you talking about guys you grew up with, guys you hang out with now?
Guys I hang out with now, just good friends.
Okay.
Yes. So we there one night. I think I sit down about 6 o'clock, and I was down, I think, about 800,000. So I get my last 200,000. And so we're playing like, okay, it's a bad weekend. I'm not going to be in the matter. I'm down 800. I ain't going to be in the matter if I lose the whole $1 million. So we sit down about 6 o'clock. We're going to lose some money, whatever. Then we're going to go to dinner. So we start gambling. I win like 300,000. I'm like, okay.
So now you're down 500.
Yep. And I says, what do you think? They're like, what do you think? I said, let me try to get a little bit more. So I lose a couple $100,000 back. And they're like, well, you're going the wrong direction.
Right,
I says, well, I'm going to chase now. Like I said, I'm back. I'm still up 100. I said, hey, listen, I ain't gonna be in the matter. So next thing I know is I'm back at $500,000, and we have a serious conversation. Like now it's like 10 o'clock at night.
Everybody's hungry.
Everybody's hungry. Now I said, so I send the butler. I said, hey, go get some Whataburger. We all ordered Whataburger. The butler brings us Whataburger. We're sitting at the table like 5 morons. I'm the only person gambling. So now it's like 1 in the morning. The plane's leaving at 7. And at this point, I'm back up to about 750. They're like, yo, man, you at
Down 750.
No, I'm at 750. I'm only down 250 now.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna be mad if I lose 250. So, but let me chase just a little bit more. Next thing I know, I win the whole $1,000,000 back and walk out with 250 in cash. So
that's what gets you.
That's what gets you, and you just chase all the time.
Yeah.
So I went from being down 950,000 to winning the whole $1,000,000 back, and then walking out at 250 in cash. Yeah. And it's like it gets you. But I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I would drive me. I'd be a nervous wreck. I would never do that. Let's talk about Tiger, because I want to talk. I want to talk about him, and we were. This was all. I mean, everybody knows his story,
yeah.
and he sort of. I root for Tiger.
Oh, I think I root for Tiger.
I think
he's the greatest golfer ever lived. No disrespect.
There's no doubt.
No disrespect to Jack Nicklaus. I think with this generation, what Tiger was competing against, the great players coming from overseas, I think he's the greatest player ever. And I watch him anytime he's on television.
Yeah. You think he'll win another major?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think because he created a generation of monsters.
I say it all the time.
I mean, he's got Jordan, Justin, Dustin, Brooks. You know, all those guys grew up and played golf at a younger age and got so much talent because of him.
And they're great athletes.
They're great.
I mean, he's the first. Half of them slam dunk a basketball.
He's the first guy who made it a golf and athletic sport.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know some of the older guys. They're like, we never even thought about working out back in the day.
Yeah, Ben Crenshaw's down there walking the fairways, having a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, but Tiger just created a generation of monsters.
He did that, and that previous generation, the fear that he instilled in them was crippling.
Yeah,
and these guys, they roll up on Sunday. He can wear a red shirt, red pants, red hat, red whatever. They're like, let's go.
Yeah, but those guys, I was talking to Peter Costas one time, and him and Gary McCord are neighbors of mine. We're talking about Tiger, and we were talking about in their day, like a young kid would come out there at 21, 22, and he's like, well, I'm just going to try to learn the tour for the next few years, and I'm going to start winning when I'm 30. Mm-hmm. He's like, Tiger changed that whole dynamic. When they come out there at 21, 22, they're like, hey, I'm one of the best in the world. I can beat anybody. That's probably the thing. That and working out are probably the two biggest things he brought to the game. Yeah. I mean, because like Gary and Peter were telling me, no young kid thought they could win before they were 30 back in the day. Now, when they come out there at 21, 22, they think they're the best player in the world.
So you haven't talked to him? Have you talked to him?
I have not talked to him.
I haven't either. Not that I've reached out or I mean, changed all methods of communication and it
was the weirdest thing because I've had 1,000 people ask me like, what happened? I'm like, I
don't think Jordan's talked to him either.
I just don't know. And I don't know what happened.
But by the way, it's up to him.
Yeah, no question.
Like it's not like, hey, why are you not talking to us?
Yeah. And I thought in the beginning he was going to get back with his wife, which I understood that scenario. But then after that, I was like, and everybody asked me like, yo, man, you hung out with this dude for 10 years and went to his wedding. Y'all went on vacations and you played golf. Y'all met in Vegas all the time. I'm like, yeah. What happened? I says, I don't know what happened.
Listen, Tiger, you know him. We know. I mean, look. He's an odd guy.
Yeah, but you know, Lance.
And I'm not trying to be negative.
The one thing that Tiger could have always counted on for us, yo, man, we got your back no matter what. Mm. My biggest concern with all the shit that he's been through the last X amount of years, like, yo, man, who's around you that's like got your back no matter what? Right. And I'm not talking about people who work for you. Those are different animals.
Right.
It's just like, who are your boys? Says, yo, man, Whatever happened.
But he didn't grow up.
Yeah,
But
but
he grew up.
singularly.
Yeah, I mean he was Todd Marinovich.
Yeah,
that was successful.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, yo, man, I don't judge. Like, I don't judge my friends. Like, first of all, we've all fucked up.
I've never fucked up.
And like, we've all fucked up, and like, you look in the mirror and say, yeah, I fucked up. But I can't become stagnant, like, cause this shit don't stop. That's one thing about this limelight, this fame thing. It does not stop when you fuck up. And I had to learn it many times. Everybody has to learn it. But the one thing you can never do is like alienate your friends. Like, cause my mom say like, yo, man, whatever happened. Now let's go forward. And that's probably the most disappointing thing with the whole Tiger scenario. Like, I'll tell you to give a perfect story. So that happened, and I'm not breaking into secrets, but this is what happened that night. So I got a call from a friend of mine in the entertainment business. And he says, yo, man, your boy's in trouble. I said, what's going on? He says, they got this big article coming out. They got this girl in Australia with Tiger, and she's on the record, blah, blah, blah. So I called Tiger. This is the Thursday night. I'm on TV that night. I said, yo, man, I don't ever get involved in your personal business. You know that. Because I have a strict rules on people's personal business. I never stick my nose in their business. But I says, friend of mine in the business wanted me to give you a heads. He said, yeah, we just got a call from the Enquirer, and we talking about it now. I said, yo, man, good luck. So the next day is after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm driving to Alabama first thing in the morning, and it comes across breaking news. Tiger Woods involved in a car accident. I'm like, oh my God, I hope he's all right, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know all the other details or anything. So I call, and I'm talking to his agent. I said, yo, man, what happened? He says he was in an accident. He's going to be all right, blah, blah, blah. And I says, what happened? He says, well, it's going to be some bad stuff coming out. And the last thing I told his agent, I says, Steiny, it's all right to say you're wrong. Don't try to PR this thing.
Right.
I says, I think the biggest problem with celebrities is they're afraid to say those magical words. I was wrong. Mm-hmm. This is my fault. They got all these idiots around them like, hey, let's try to cover this like this. Let's try to cover this like this. Like, nah, just look in there and say, hey, you know what? This is on me. That's like the night I got the DUI, like when I went back to work after I got suspended, I looked in that camera and I says, well, Charles, you got something? I says, hey, this is on me. Not my friends, not the bartender. This is 100% on me. I apologize. I'm glad nobody got hurt. And I got so many people says, man, that's one of the reasons we love you. You didn't try to say blah, 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 blah. You're like, yo, I fucked up.
But did you really promise the cop that you would tattoo his name on your ass if he'd let you go?
You know, Lance, there's a couple of things that bother me about that night that I've never talked about.
Because, by the way, that's a pretty classic line.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a bad situation, but...
Yeah, but there's some things that always bother me about that night.
Yeah.
Number one, I think I was targeted. And so, because I have a big New Year's Eve party every year. And I remember we were all going to go back to my house and drink. Because it was relatively early that night. Because it was New Year's Eve. So we're 4 cars in a line. And I don't want to mention other celebrities because that's their own business. So we all slow roll the stop sign. And I'm the 4th car. When I slow roll the stop sign, 3 cop cars come out of fucking nowhere. And I'm like, oh shit, I've been set up. And I said, okay. So I play it off. They arrest me. So then I'm signing autographs. I'm taking pictures. Then I start joking around and shit. and I say stupid stuff because I'm thinking like, oh, they are my friends. I mean, I'm already arrested. Ain't nothing can happen. So I start joking around, and my bodyguard tells me, he says, "Don't you ever fucking joke with the cops."
Right.
He's a cop.
The cops are taking pictures?
I'm signing autographs and taking pictures.
Well, then, yeah, I know what you're thinking.
I'm like, okay,
oh, we got green light.
We got green light. And so I just let my guard down. And like I say, my bodyguard, who's been a cop for 30 years, James Haywood in Houston, Texas, and his wife, Denise, who's been a cop for 30 years, he always tells me, he says, "Charles, all these cops don't like you. So I can't believe," he said, "I can't believe you were that stupid to let your guard down. Just do what they ask you to do. When they start asking for autographs and pictures, don't fucking smile and joke around." And I learned a very valuable lesson that night. I did.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I know what you were thinking. Like, it's like, oh, whoa. I mean, selfies and autograph with this green light.
And then they let me go.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like, I couldn't have been that drunk. They let me go. They're like, "Hey, you're good to go now."
You know
After they unbooked me and did everything, and I signed autographs and take pictures, they're like, "You're good to go now." And I says, this is going.
Do I have to get the tattoo? You're thinking?
Yeah, I don't get the tattoo.
You know what? I learned a valuable lesson just now too. Is I realized that at 5'10" and 175 pounds, and you being 6'6" and 2 something, if
Let's
you need
leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. I'm not gonna. It's a 2. I'm gonna start it with a 2.
Yeah.
If you need a bodyguard, then I must need like a fucking army.
I think
So that I think
the way things have changed now, I don't think any celebrity can go out by themselves anymore. For the simple fact, number one, people always want to fight. They always want to fuck with you. There's one guy a night, like and I'm pretty sure it happened to you. Like, you can go out and everybody in the bar is like, "Oh, that's Lance Armstrong."
that's cool, right?
That's cool.
There's one.
But we always call it the one. There's one guy who stands close enough to say, "Oh, Charles Barkley's an asshole. Lance Armstrong's an asshole," and they're close enough just for you to hear it. Like, everybody else in the bar got a life of their own. They don't give a shit that Lance Armstrong or Charles Barkley's in the bar. They there to have fun, eat dinner, drink. But there's one fucking guy at night, Lance, who's gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
And I laugh about it now. We call him, cause like my friends would say, "Oh, I hear the one." Like my boy, cause there's gonna be one guy at night who's gonna mess with you.
Yeah.
And they only want to sue you.
Oh.
I mean, they're gonna sue you. I mean, because you can't hit them. But they first of all, they're not gonna fight you. But they just want you to hit them or something.
Right. So, God, it's just with so many endless ways we can take this conversation. Look, when I read, I had forgotten that you went to Auburn, so I just want to go back to Auburn for a second because I want to tell you a story. So, and I'm reading your history at coming from Leeds and then going to Auburn, and then I look at the years that you were at Auburn, and I was like, that was probably around the time that Bo Jackson was there.
Well, Bo was in college with me. Let's get that correct.
So
I was that first.
Hang on. This is my podcast.
Yes.
So I sent Bo a text. I said, "Do you have a second? I have a question." He says, "Call me." And so I said, "Listen, I got Charles on the podcast tonight." I said, and as I've just learned, I'm figuring out, like, you guys were at Auburn together. I was like, you got to have some shit on him. And he said, you know Bo. I mean, how he acts and talks is so funny. He says he considers himself number one. And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Lance, he believes that he is the number one athlete that ever went to Auburn. And I am number 2. And Cam Newton and Frank Thomas can fight it out for number 3.
Every time I see Bo Jackson.
And he said, but by the way, tell him I love him.
Yeah. Every time I see Bo Jackson, we call each other number 2. We don't even call, hey, when we talk to each other, we say, "Hey, number 2, how's everything going?" He said, "Yeah, everything's good." He's number 2. "How's your family?" "Oh, everything's good on my end." Like, it was such an honor and privilege to watch Bo Jackson play in college.
Yeah.
First of all, I met Bo in high school. My football team was really good. I didn't play football, but my high school team. So we played Bo's team. And the weirdest thing about Bo, both the same size in high school as he was in college, and like he was like he was a man among boys, and to watch him run through our high school team, being a year later, I go to Auburn. I think I went to Auburn that year. He came to Auburn the next year.
Yep.
And it was an honor and a privilege to watch him in college, and even to this day, he's a great friend.
Yeah.
But we have this little thing going. We call each other number two.
Yeah, he truly. Yeah, he said you believe that you really are number one,
and he believes he's number one.
Well, no offense.
Yeah.
Guy's a fucking monster. But then at the end of the call, he's like, I have to hang up because I'm pulling up to the supermarket.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, no problem. Thanks. He's like, and he keeps going.
Yeah.
He's like, I have to go inside and buy some cactus. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking?
Yeah.
You're in Chicago. It's snowing.
Is he going to use them for shooting?
What kind of honeydew is that? Like, go buy cactus and bring them home.
He's probably going to shoot at him. You know, Bo is one.
I know
of the,
he's a big bow hunter. I know.
Yes.
Or bow, whatever.
Yeah.
Or, like Robin Hood.
So there's probably no doubt about mine. If you go to his house right now, he's got those cactus lined up. He had. I saw one time he had like this big deer body.
Yeah.
Well, he just shot at it. He was a great. I guess I don't even know if you call him marksman, but. There's no doubt in my mind if he got those cactus, he probably got them on some type of ledge, and he just shooting at them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about at all.
Him and Carl Malone are the only two black people I know hunt all the time.
Yeah, he does. What did you think when? Because it was so funny, and we have similar stories. Yours is a much bigger story than mine on this. But what did they tell you? Maybe you didn't even know. But when Gnarls Barkley came out, did they like call you before and be like, "Yo, we're gonna name our band"? So all of a sudden you're listening to the radio, and the guy comes back and is like, "That's his band, Gnarls Barkley."
Everybody thought it was my band. That's what was funny about it. Everybody thought it was my band. I had nothing to do. I've actually never met CeeLo and the guys.
Right.
But everybody thought like, yo man, you got a band. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like Gnarls Barkley. I'm like, dude,
it was a huge band.
Yeah, I know. And they had like a bunch of hits. But no, I had nothing to do with it. Everybody's like, is that your band? I'm like, no, that's not my band.
I had a similar thing happen. Of course, Gnarls Barkley was like topping the charts and selling zillions. Do you need another beer?
I do.
Dave, what kind of beer is it? Oh, he's going. Oh Lord, he's gonna leave. Where are you going?
I'm going to the bathroom. Can I pee?
Oh my goodness, this is a first. This is actually a first. This is a first, folks. We've never had a guest. Actually, I did Joe Rogan years ago, and he likes to go long. And like, I was drinking a bunch of water, and I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. I was like, what should we cut? Should we like hit pause, or are you going to edit this? He's like, no, just get up and go. Well, I'll sit there and talk to these people. So this is a first. But you know what? They get old, the bladder gets small. So you have Gnarls Barkley, which was topped all the charts and sold zillions of records. I too have a like similar situation, a band. And this is a band from my hometown of Austin, Texas. And it's kind of a reggae rock band called Lance Armstrong. This is a true story. Lance Armstrong. And I fancy myself a really crappy novice drum player, so I play with him sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you any good?
No. I mean, I can play like the basic. Yeah, let's do it, Mo.
Can you get to?
No. I just do the basic 4 on the floor and get out there. And the funny story is they thought I was going to get pissed about it and make them change the name, so they had a backup name.
What?
Van Halen.
Oh, Lord.
Which is actually still pretty good.
What's so funny about that? When celebrities hate people using their name or making fun of them.
Yeah, but
I think that's hilarious.
I know, but listen, at the height of your career, at the height of my career, we'd have sicked every lawyer we knew on them.
Oh. But that never bothered me. I got a call from this other.
It would have bothered me, but it wouldn't bother me now.
No, I got a call from this other celebrity. I want to mention his name. who was furious at Frank Caliendo for impersonating us.
Right. And I had never seen that until today. So these guys, my guys.
Are you serious?
I said, how have I never seen him sitting up here impersonating Charles? And then they were like tapping me on the shoulder like, dude, you were kind of busy at the time.
Yeah, that's true. So this other celebrity calls me. My agent says, hey, this guy wants to talk to you. I'm like, of course I can talk to him. I said, yes. Hey, how you doing? Yes, Mr. Barkley, I just want to tell you blah, 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 and we need to put an end to this Frank Caliendo thing. I'm like, what do you mean? He's impersonating us. First of all, I think his impersonations are not very good. I'm like, yo, man, you need to take a... And then, first of all, I didn't know the guy that well. But I'm like, you need to take a chill pill, brother.
Right.
Like, first of all, anybody who gets you free publicity is great for your brand. I actually think he does a fantastic job.
So I YouTubed him doing you.
Yeah.
Sitting there with Ernie and Kenny and he was talking about Kim Jong-un and bombs and this little man and wearing platform shoes. I mean, it is
hilarious.
Yeah.
But the other celebrity...
He could call your bank and get your records.
I've seen him do 1 million people, too. He's really good. I've seen him in concert before. He's really good. But, man, I think that the one thing that separates me, I've never taken this stuff that serious. Like, I played basketball. And I said this, and I'm not trying to be humble. I love what I did. Say it was the greatest thing ever, but... Unless you're like a teacher, fireman, policeman, doctor, lawyer, somebody like that, like, dude, you dribbled a basketball. Don't take yourself so serious.
Which brings up this point, which we should have said. I should have saved it, but I told you before we hit record that I was going to bring a basketball and have a dribbling contest, and you looked at me like I was just...
Have you ever touched a ball before? Can you dribble?
A ball? You asking me if I touched a ball?
First of all, like...
What kind of question is that to me?
I'm just letting you know because that's a good point. But you don't play...
I understand.
Even if you dribbled a basketball, you're not out there by yourself.
I understand. When you do these things, then you do like those stupid stunts on the side to promote them. Yeah. So I thought it'd be funny if you and me dribbled a basketball and you looked at me like... first question.
You'd be like this really nerdy white boy dribbling. It'd be embarrassing.
No,
you're one of the greatest athletes of all time, and you'd be doing like some like little wussy. Because let me tell you, did you see Conor McGregor try to throw a football?
No.
It was like a girl was throwing it. And no disrespect, but he threw it like a girl. And this guy one of the toughest guys in the world, and he threw it. And did you see? I think I saw Julio Jones trying to kick a soccer ball. Like some of the greatest jocks in the world have zero skills the other way around.
Well, I'm actually glad now that I couldn't find, or I thought about it too late to bring a basketball.
But it would have been fucking hilarious.
But you say you didn't take it serious. I want
No.
Hang on. You didn't take you had fun doing it, but this is important, and it's important to me. It was about how serious you took the game and how.
Well, I was playing angry.
Yeah.
So I was really mad. So my senior year in high school, I flunked Spanish.
That doesn't surprise me.
First of all, because I should have been taking Spanish. So I didn't get to March. But I stood.
What do you mean you didn't get to March?
I didn't get to March. I didn't graduate.
You didn't go. You mean okay? You didn't go through the
But what I did was I stood next door in the baseball stadium and cried for like 2 hours. And my dad, who we weren't close,
because he left you guys early,
flew in from California.
Another thing we have in common.
And he read me the riot act about what a loser I was.
Wait, he hasn't been there for 17 or 18 years, and you don't get to helly in and say that.
You're right. And I was already down, but he came over from California, and he didn't have any money, but he spent the money to come see me graduate, and I didn't graduate. And when I was sitting there crying for 2 hours, I was so angry at my dad. And I was so angry at this lady named Miss Gomez, my Spanish teacher. And every time I touched a basketball, I want to stick it up my dad's ass and stick it to Miss Gomez. And to every kid who made fun of me because I didn't graduate. Like, I was a total jerk probably. But I just like, I'm going to get every one of you assholes back, and I'm going to be successful, and I'm going to stick it to every single one of y'all. And I played with a chip on my shoulder, and then everything came to a... Like I tell people, if you play with a chip to the edge, it's just a matter of time for you to fall off the cliff.
But Charles, this is why, and I just found the quote, this is why it's important to me, right? Because I played my whole career with a chip. I mean, and when I say career, I mean from similar situation, dad leaves, it's, maybe I shouldn't have been like, okay, fuck you, world, watch this. Yeah. But I did. That's the way I thought. And so this is, as I read, and I'm going to read this quote because it hit me hard. You says, upon retirement, Barkley was later quoted as stating, in regard to his career, and I quote, "I was fairly controversial, I guess, but I regret only one thing, the spitting incident. But you know what? It taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me that I was getting way too intense during the game. It let me know that I wanted to win way too bad. I had to calm down. I wanted to win at all costs. Instead of playing the game the right way and respecting the game, I only thought about winning." I mean, if I could make a statement about my life and my career, that would be the statement.
But the thing is, like, I wasn't doing it just for the game. I was doing it to stick it to people who
Of course,
stuff
your
to
list.
Me.
Your list.
But it gets your ass in the long run, and you don't enjoy.
Oh, buddy, trust me.
Yeah, you don't enjoy your successes.
Yeah.
Because, like, dude, I made it out of the projects, went to college for 3 years, became a millionaire at 21, 22. I'm in the NBA making millions of freaking dollars. And I'm sitting there worried about my dad, Miss Gomez, assholes I went to high school with who made fun of me because I didn't march. Like, instead of saying, like, wow, man, you're doing good. You've been 3 years of college, you go to the NBA, you're a multi-millionaire, you're playing with Dr. J, Moses, Andrew, Tony, Bobby Jones, and you're traveling the country. Nike taking you around the world during the summer. Like,
Charles, the parallels here are I never even really thought about it, but the parallels are infinite.
Yeah. But then when that night when I was sitting in the hotel room, because I was suspended for a game, and I was sitting in the, so I'm listening to the game on the radio, as a matter of fact.
Which nobody does anymore.
Because they didn't have it on TV at the time. That's how old I am,
right.
And I'm listening to the game, and I'm sitting in this hotel room. I want to say Charlotte. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was in Charlotte. Because you don't, when you're suspended, you can't go to the game. And I'm sitting there listening to the game. I let my teammates down. I let my family and friends down. But I was sitting there like, yo, man, you got to calm your ass down. Like, you're a great basketball player. Why are you mad at? And because really what happened was, I was just starting to mature. It's like, why are you mad at Miss Gomez? You flunked Spanish. She just taught the class. And then the thing with my dad, I said, hey, listen, it didn't work out between your mom and dad, but that's over with. Like, your dad didn't do his job of being a father, but like, you can't carry that baggage around. And I was sitting there in that hotel room. It hit me that night. Like, damn, man. You got one of the best jobs in the world, and you're trying to stick it to some high school friends who ain't never going to leave that area.
Yeah.
And, like, you've been out of that area, and you're making millions of dollars a year, and you still thinking about them when you're playing. Like, I'm sticking to these people.
But if the story, as I read it, is true, I don't know if it's true or not, but if you have a fan on the sitting courtside or close to courtside hurling racist remarks, I don't know if that happened or not.
Well,
because that has nothing to do with your old friends.
The problem was,
I mean, because you just can't do that.
You can't.
It was
but the
91
problem was,
or it was.
I don't even like defending it, because it was stupid in the way you slice it. Like, when I look at the replay, because I looked at it 1,000 times, I just kind of spit down. The fan was probably on the 5th or 6th row, and he was an asshole, jerk, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't find out till later. They say some had got on a young girl, because I would never spit toward the stands. Mm-hmm. But like I say, it was stupid, but it was probably the most valuable lesson. And the girl's name was Lauren Rose.
You ended up befriending her, them, and bringing them back to games and buying them tickets.
Yes. And
which just to me is crazy.
But she made it better for me.
Yep.
She made it better for me. When I was at that was probably one of the darker times. She made it better for me, like forgiving me and giving me a hug, because, disrespecting a kid is probably as low as you can go. Mm-hmm. But when she gave me a hug and said everything's gonna be all right, that's like, I would love to see where she was today. Mm-hmm. See how her life turned out, because she changed my life. Because, man, I was bitter at. I'm thinking, like, I'm gonna be successful. But
yeah, fuck all y'all.
Yeah, fuck all y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've been there, brother. What about politics? Are we in or are we out? Let's just not. We either commit or we just say we're retired.
Lance,
because you have to be tempted in this day and age.
Yes, but I realize that both parties are full of shit.
I agree.
I think that I'm an independent. I lean toward being a Democrat. But I think both parties are full of shit. And I look at it like this. I have voted Democrat, and everybody I've probably ever grown up with has voted Democratic their entire lives. Mm-hmm. And they say, other than the fact that I can dribble a basketball, they're in the same shitty boat. And they voted Democrat their whole life. They're in the same poor neighborhoods. Their school system is the worst. They got no economic opportunity.
Yeah, diet, nutrition, everything.
Yeah.
Obese.
So the Democratic Party, which I've always voted for, they have bamboozled, hoodwinked, and led astray black folks and poor people and not done anything for us. At least with the Republicans, they're going to take care of rich people. They're going to do what they do. They're going to take care of rich people. But now that I'm old enough to make my own decision, like, take a step back, like, okay, the Republicans going to do what they do. But the Democratic Party has been so full of shit, especially for black people and poor people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I want to get involved. Nobody want to go to work and fight every day.
Listen,
that's stupid.
You'd be crazy.
Yeah.
First of all, you're too busy to go give up everything you're doing to go back to Alabama, which I'm assuming is where you would feel
they need me, Lance.
Yeah, of course they need you.
Yeah.
Of course. All those people that you've just talked about for the last hour, of course they need you.
Yeah.
So that's always the pull from people that have influence and power and history, but you're not going to give up everything.
But I believe in decency. Like, poor people should go to, their neighborhood should be safe. They should go to a school that gives them a chance to be successful.
Yeah.
They should, it shouldn't be crime-ridden and a bad education. That's not the American dream. America's the greatest place in the world. But the way some of these neighborhoods are, the way some of these schools are, and zero economic opportunity, that's not right. This is the greatest. Listen, and you the same way. You've been around the world. This is the greatest place in the world by far.
Well, I always say it's the best country club.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what the dues or taxes being the dues. Like, people are, oh, my taxes. I'm like, listen, this is the dues to be at the nicest country club in the world. Like, fuck, what do you want?
Yes.
You want some low dues and live in some shithole?
Yeah. And you see all the time now, like, you see my man over Khashoggi. Like, he speaks against the crown prince and they kill him and chop him up and nothing happened. Right. And you see in other countries, we can say bad stuff about the president and everybody can laugh about it or retweet it. In other countries, they kill your ass for talking bad.
But what gets me about that, just not to go down that rabbit hole, but what gets me about that situation, and look, none of us were in that Turkish embassy, but we all kind of know what happened. So he was an opponent of them, wrote for the Washington Post, and they kill him, and then now all the guys that killed him are going to get killed.
And that's what they say. That's what they say. Because first of all, listen, none of us are morons. Without the crown prince giving the order, the butler and the waiters ain't gonna kill this guy.
Right.
And they say they're gonna be held responsible.
They just put him on trial.
But we don't know how to. Listen. First of all, I don't believe every single thing.
I believe everything I read on the internet.
Yeah, on the internet, I know. But it's just to let you know how, like, we can actually say stuff about the president, the governor, the mayor here, and people listen.
Yeah.
You don't get chopped up into little bitty pieces.
No. All right. Before we talk about basketball, one other question. Just because, it is a political question.
Sure.
And I've just followed this thing so closely. Any player, forget football, it could be in any sport, kneeling during the anthem, specifically Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
The ramifications that it has had. I mean, I watch NFL. I see. Look. I honestly don't know where I land on this, but I do know that I see so many shitty quarterbacks.
Yeah.
How is Colin Kaepernick not in the NFL?
Well, he's blackballed.
But if you were the president and
the president should
you're having a press briefing and somebody says to you,
president should stay out.
Let me just say it like this, because this sounds. I want
to ask you a question.
I want to say
you should
these
stand
words.
for the national anthem.
Hang on, I want to say these words.
Sure.
President Barkley, Colin Kaepernick kneeled for the national anthem last night. Do you have a comment?
I 100% disagree with Colin Kaepernick for kneeling for the anthem. I think you should stand for the anthem. First of all, he has that right. I just disagree with him. Mm-hmm. And the thing that's interesting, I saw this stat somewhere. Before the president called them SOBs and talk about we should do this, there was only about 26 players kneeling.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mostly because to me, I think the anthem is important, it's significant. I do a lot of work with wounded warriors. And when you go visit these troops and they got no arms, no legs, and we treat our vets awful, number one. But
totally agree.
When you go visit these guys and you see what the anthem means to them, to represent your country, I tell people, man, going to the Olympics is a cool thing. Yeah. To represent your country, that's one of the greatest accomplishments of my life.
Yeah, but I honestly, and I think we can all agree. I mean, the origin of that protest, it had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with the armed forces we've sent overseas to defend our freedom and liberty. It was more about their community and
yes,
and police brutality.
But I think that's a different way to do it.
It is different.
Yeah. But I listen. I'm just saying this. I think you should stand for the anthem. Mm-hmm. I respect. I respect Kaepernick. But number one, he is blackballed. He's never gonna get another job in the NFL. But I wish he had used his platform, because he could have did it a different way. He could have did his first kneel, got everybody's attention. Then they took $100 million from the NFL to put into those communities, which I thought was awesome by the NFL owners and some of those players. But my personal opinion, I think you should stand for the anthem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, the NFL they had stress. Like they were running around like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? You know, and then all of a sudden.
Well, because they listen, sports are about money. I mean, players make a lot, owners make a lot. We need sponsors. The sponsors, they have a voice. Yeah. Yeah. And, when you start talking about the bottom line, like, everybody's making money. Yeah. But they need sponsors to make money. They need TV revenue to make money. Yeah. So that go back to what I was telling you earlier. Like, I think guys should do interviews. Yeah. It's important. Yeah. We're all in this little pot together.
Let's talk about basketball.
Yes.
But just full disclosure, I know nothing about basketball. Like
We got a name for people like you. We call them fans.
That's awesome. I just don't. I follow it occasionally. I mean, I'm friends with some players for it, but whatever. But I just don't know anything about it. Like I'm following a little closer now because the Denver Nuggets are hot this year, and from
you got a big game tonight.
Who do they have tonight?
They play the Warriors tonight, but first place in the West.
Wow.
That was my sleeper team coming to the season.
The Nuggets.
I need them to do well.
Okay, well, we'll follow it. But and the Spurs being close to Austin, like that's R.C. Buford and Popovich and Becky Hammond, they're great friends of mine, and it's been fun I go to some of those games, but I like to sit there. First of all, the thing I love about basketball games, it's over in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like you go to a fucking football game, it is 4 hours, and you're watching 12 minutes of action. Did you know that in a 4-hour football game, the total, like the average time of total action, 12 minutes.
Well, I tell
Basketball.
you what really sucks about football. First of all, football is my favorite sport, and boxing. Those are my 2 favorite sports. But what sucks about football when you actually at a game, you have when you're at home, it's a quick 2-minute commercial break and you move around and then the game's back on. But when you're at the actual game, it's so much dead time.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Right.
I didn't know the exact numbers that you said.
That's a true
But
number.
when you actually at a real football game,
There's no DJ, there's no music pumping.
oh my God.
You can hear somebody fart.
And those commercial breaks last like 12 minutes, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wins in a one-on-one contest between Jordan and LeBron? And I mean true one-on-one.
Oh, man. I have a tough time believing somebody could beat Michael one-on-one.
I mean, everybody's all about LeBron.
I love LeBron and respect him, but Michael's a different animal.
Yeah.
He wants to and is going to win at all costs.
Right. In anything.
Probably to a fault.
Yeah.
Probably to a fault.
He missed it. I mean, he got out. I mean,
But he to me, I always tell people he's the GOAT. He's the best I ever played against, and that's no disrespect to Larry and Magic and Karl Malone and Patrick Ewing and those guys. But there was one guy you're like, oh, that guy's better than all of us.
Did you see? I watched this Allen Iverson. It was like a 20 or 30-minute documentary. I forget where I saw it. It was wasn't on Vice. It was on something like that. And Iverson idolized Jordan. And the first time, so he makes it to the league. I mean, the first game against Jordan, and he's standing there in front of his idol. This guy who he's built his whole life and career around this guy. And Jordan looks at him and says, "You're a little bitch." Just right to it, just punches him right in the nose with just.
See, I think Tiger's a lot like that. You read all these stories now how nice he is, just go around. I don't think Michael or Tiger were capable in their heyday.
Yeah.
Of being friends with other players.
I know, but that's all. I always laugh because people with my story, for example, they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it now. It looks like everybody did it, and he did it, and we don't like it, but it looks like it was a level playing field." But he was such an asshole.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you think Michael Jordan was a fucking nice guy? Do you think Tiger?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Arthur Ashe was a complete asshole, was a stone cold killer.
Wow.
And so at some point you kind of have to be.
Well, even me, and I'm not comparing myself to those guys. Those better than me. Like, I wasn't a friendly guy when I'm playing. Like, that's what sports are. My job is to kick your ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're paid to.
I'm like, okay, it's either me or you.
Yeah.
And that's just the way this thing works.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no lollygag or anything. Like, my job is to kick your ass, and if I'm kicking your ass and you can't take it, like, I'm not gonna ease up because that's my job.
What about this one? Like I'm and the only reason I watch basketball now, no disrespect to the game or to the fans or to the players, but my little guy is he loves basketball. He's 9. He loves it. He loves to watch the Nuggets and the Spurs, and so we watch it all the time. And, I mean, these boys are just raining threes. Like, I don't even know these guys. You don't even know their names. Like, from Lithuania. They're from, Mars. They're fucking just raining threes.
Yeah.
I like it like I'm shooting a 3-footer. And then there's talk about a 4-point line. Yeah. Is that legit? Like, are we?
Well, it's legitimate. I don't
because the game is just.
I think we
different.
need less 3-point shooting now.
Well, how are you going to do that?
Well, listen, we got guys who shooting threes who shouldn't shoot threes. Listen, let me ask you. Let me give you this analogy. Every guy, there's a lot of people ride bikes, right?
Yeah.
They can't ride in the Tour.
Negative.
So, and there's guys who are really good,
right?
Who can't do the Tour,
right? Every local guy in every local community thinks he should be in the Tour.
I remember I would think Ben Crenshaw was telling me this story one day about he was having lunch with Harvey Pinnock back in the 70s, and the guy came up to Mr. Pinnock and said something about, I was thinking about, I'm the club champion. I was thinking about, like, what do you think of my chances of going pro? And he says, well, I don't know if they're that good. He says, like, well, why do you say that? He says, Mr. Ben Crenshaw right here, he just won the Masters. He said, you think you can beat him? He's like, well, I don't think I can beat him. He said, well, these are the type of people you're going to be competing against. Right. The local club champion can't, like, first of all, that course you played, it won't be like a PGA Tour course.
The rough is like this. Yeah.
And like the fairway's about this wide. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, pros are pros for a reason. I also think people take pros for granted. I don't think they.
But even pro basketball, you're saying they're pro basketball players that should not shoot
they shouldn't shoot threes. We got 7-foot guys who are shooting threes now.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, they make a few. They think they're going to make them all.
But you have to look at the big picture. Just because everybody – listen, it works for the Golden State Warriors for a reason.
No, it's Curry started. I got it.
Yeah, but they got 3 of the greatest shooters who ever lived. And the rest of the teams don't have those guys. That's the reason they won 3 out of 4 championships. And they probably – think about it. They've won 3 out of 4. If Draymond Green is not out there kicking guys in the balls, they probably win 4 in a row. Think about that. If the only stopping from winning 3 or 4 in a row is when Draymond was suspended, or they would have won 4 in a row. But this notion that you got to shoot threes, I don't believe that. I mean, yeah, if you got Kevin, KD, and Steph, yeah, you want to shoot threes. But what are the chances you having 3 of the greatest shooters ever lived on your team? It's not going to happen.
Right.
The Phoenix Suns can't do that.
I can't name one player on the Phoenix Suns. Yeah. If my life depended on it, I'd be dead.
I got you back. I'll give you a CPR. Mouth to mouth.
So is there going to be a 4-point line?
I don't know. I hope not.
Okay. I agree. I think it's – okay. And then where's KD going then? He's leaving.
I hated when he left OKC.
Yeah. He's an interesting guy. I think he's wired differently than a lot of guys in the league, it seems like. And I only say that
he's a guy who spends way too much time worried about what other people think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a great kid. I mean, obviously he's a great player, but he's a great kid.
Yep.
But when you're arguing with an 18-year-old on Twitter and they bust you and you got like a secret account and you're arguing with teenagers on Twitter.
You get all bowed up.
Yeah, you are Kevin Durant. You do realize that, right? You shouldn't be arguing with a high school kid who's called you a name because you left OKC.
I didn't know he did that.
Oh, yeah.
Who was your favorite – who was your biggest rival and who was your favorite person to play against? They may be the same person, but who did you just kind of just – put over there as like the person I gotta crush this fucker, and then who did you every night go, oh my god, this is so great, I get to go?
Well, the best player I played against is Kevin McHale.
Interesting.
When they had Bert McHale in Paris when I was playing for the Sixers, that was a nightmare.
Yeah. And Philly Boston is that
every year it was a knockdown drag out. As far as rival, Karl Malone was a rival. Because we were only 2 guys who really played the same position. Mm-hmm. And I got Tim Duncan at the end, who I think is the greatest power forward ever.
Mm-hmm. And a true gentleman.
Just an amazing human. But, guys like him, they get Popovich, who's one of the 3 or 4 best coaches ever.
Mm-hmm.
He's around a great man like David Robinson. You got Ginobili and Parker. That's just a great environment for somebody to grow up in. That's important. The environment, the team that you're a part of. Yeah.
It's amazing the following in San Antonio. I mean, it's when I go to those games, like it is just.
Well, that's a unique situation.
And also Tim Duncan, like I don't know that I have the whole story, but like, he got totally. I mean, look, he and his wife split up. He lost some money on that, and then his manager like ran off with a bunch or embezzled a bunch of money. Like I'm like, fuck.
Well, 80% of professional athletes go broke.
Well, Chuck, I mean, we know. Yeah, we know that, but we also know why.
No, I disagree. First of all, most of these guys aren't gambling. First of all,
but they're buying houses and cars and jewelry.
But also the main thing, and listen, I'm not concerned about how I phrase this. A lot of these black guys, myself included, man, we're trying to take care of the entire hood. Mm-hmm. Like I bought my mom, my grandmother, my brothers, and houses and cars, and I probably gave away another $2 million to family and friends, trying to keep them as friends. I try to teach these young guys today, man, you don't have to take care of the whole hood.
But hang on. Let's just do, I mean, we don't need to break this down too much, but if you buy your mother a house in Leeds, or wherever, that's $200,000. She's living in a mansion in Leeds, Alabama. Okay, and then grandma, and then, I mean, you can, if I were an agent, I would be like, okay, look, I understand you need to look after your people and your friends and your family and the ones you love the most. And so let's do it there. And here's, you want to get a car? Cool, let's go get a car. You want to buy a ring or a watch? Cool.
But the thing
that's
is,
it. Then
it's not. No, first of all, fuck you. That's not it. They're on the payroll.
So that wouldn't be a good pitch to these guys?
No. First of all, they're on the payroll. They're on the payroll, and the thing that sucks about it, they're always gonna go over fucking payroll. Like, firsthand, like I gave my mother and grandmother a salary for tax purposes, but they never stayed within the boundaries. They always went over the limit. Mm-hmm. And then, like I say, then my brothers, and then, like I say, family, friends are blowing up your phone and things like that.
Well, that's only going to get worse.
That's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I say, people are like, well, yeah, guys got some cars. First of all, buying all those cars is stupid. Gambling, that's up to your personal choice. But most of the reason these guys go broke is 2 reasons. Number one, they got, like MC Hammer said before, like, and I don't want to put his business in the street, but I think it's well documented. He had like 35 people on the payroll.
He had a 747 at some point.
No, but I'm saying he had like 35 people on the payroll.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson, who I know well, had 40 people on the payroll. Like, no matter how much money you make, if you got 40 people on the payroll, there's 2 issues. Number one, that's too many people. But also, the day you retire, you don't have any fucking money.
Well, the income, that's right. Cash flow is very important.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, when you... Like, I'm lucky because I went into television. But like every other jock,
right,
the day you retire, you don't have no fucking job.
You have no income.
You have no income.
Yes.
And if you have been reckless or have 30, 40 people on the payroll, first of all, you have to send your kids to private school. That's your expense. Like, that shit goes quickly. Like, I was blessed to go right into television. But like... First of all, television probably saves me because like I say, I probably got $3 to $4 million out there that I lent to family and friends that I know I'll never see again.
Yeah. Like my woman's texting me. She thinks she's getting sick. I'm getting sick. I'm crazy, achy, and hot and cold and feel like hell. On a brighter note, Max, who's our son, went to hockey. He started playing hockey.
Yeah.
That's why we're coming here. We're in Phoenix for this hockey tournament. How much do you love my mother? Because she loves you.
Oh, your mom is such a sweet
She
lady.
loves you. I told her today, I said, Mom, guess who I have on my podcast today? And she was like, I don't know. Who? And I was like, Barkley. She's like, oh, my gosh. She was so excited.
Well, she was so sweet. First of all, do you play a lot of golf?
I mean, I try. I suck, but I try.
Why don't you come back to Tahoe?
I don't play the celebrity. You know.
Oh, this is the one tournament. That's the only one I play.
Charles, I don't know if you've paid attention in the last 6 years, but when they invite people, right? They invite people that they feel like are safe and going to be welcome. You know, they don't invite.
Well, let me ask you a question.
They don't invite people like me.
So this is a good question for me to ask
because they're going to
you.
get 5 emails that say, "Why did you invite that motherfucker?"
So let me ask you a question, though.
So I don't get invited.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
I tell you what.
Tell me.
If you want to come, I would love to invite you as my guest. Now,
Is your caddy or is your guest?
No, as a player. Let me tell you something, Lance. Do you think you get more shit from the press or the public?
No, the press for sure.
See, that's the point I want to make to anybody like us who fuck up. The press beat us to death because they're mad.
Mm-hmm.
The public, to me, is a lot more forgiving, supportive, want you to come back than the press.
Right, but you're forgetting the third player in this, the third actor in this play, and that's the host, the sponsor. I mean, American Century. Don't forget, because the public has been. When I walk through my life every day, when I walk through my day, when I walk through an airport, I take my kids to school, I go to the grocery, whatever I do, I never get shade ever. The press, the press interprets things, and I'm not criticizing them. It just is what it is. It's always a little negative. But when you talk about something like this, a situation like this, a golf tournament, where you cannot invite yourself. Yeah. So then you have a sponsor, a host, whatever. It's up to them. And so if they're worried that they're going to get shit
listen. There's always going to be an asshole.
But I'm actually, you know what? We don't need to go down this rabbit hole.
No, I'm just
what I'm worried about is that I would get nervous in front of all those people and start swinging the golf club like you. If that ever happened, I would find the highest bridge and I would jump. If I ever swung,
no one be in Arizona because we're in the middle of the desert.
But there are a lot of people there.
It'd be so much fun though, because we got.
When is it?
The third weekend of July.
Perfect. I can't do it. It's during the tour. We have our biggest. That's our biggest week. Those are our biggest 3 weeks. You know what? When they cancel the tour 1 year, I'll be there with you.
I tell you what, though, man, it's you should come to Tahoe.
I will be there 1 year. I will be there.
Because that's when I met your mom the first time.
I know she loves you.
She was so cool, and I would say like, Mom, you're working without Lance. You don't have to bring him.
No, I know, and you did that with my woman too, which is fun. When you were going dark on me, just last thing I'll say, when you were going, I was like, I think Charles is, I think he's flaking out on me, and I told Ann, I was like, Ann, honey, I haven't heard, like I don't know, like she says, you tell him that if he doesn't do this, I'll never speak to him again. Because you remember what you said during we were at that Pacquiao fight in Vegas, and you came up and you said, "Listen, you gotta get rid of this loser, this guy." No, you said no. This is what you said. You said, "Honey, how hard? I mean, anybody can pedal a bike." That's what you said. Anybody can pedal a bike.
Oh, I used to talk bad about you all the time.
Oh yeah.
When they were talking about you were the greatest athlete in the world, I says, "Wait, can anybody ride a bike?" Like if it's something, I used to say that to you. I used to tell you to your face.
No, I understand.
I said, wait a minute, he's in great shape. Let's get that out the way. But that's my theory. That's my theory on sports. If it's something everybody can do, that's why I don't consider NASCAR drivers like real jocks. Come on, everybody can drive.
Look at the truck. It looks just like it, doesn't it? It's like the Peloton. Yeah, look at that. Like Peloton. Look at, watch it. I'm the Black Lance Armstrong. Well, let's see what kind of video shows.
I'm the Black Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, look at that.
Hang on.
It's a little. That was good, Joe. Stopping you and the heart rate too high. There you go.
Wait for it.
Lance Armstrong, eat your heart out.
Lance Armstrong, eat your heart out. It really isn't that hard.
To ride a bike?
Nah,
I told you. That's why they was like, what do you think? You think Lance is the greatest athlete in the world today? The dude rides a bike. If it's something everybody can do, it can't be. Come on.
I can fucking dribble.
No, you can't. Not good. Not good.
Let's go have dinner.
Let's have dinner, my brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, my brother.
Thank you so much. How were my skills? Were they okay?
They were very good.
Thank you so much.